session 5 of Who is Our God? And today's attribute is faithfulness. Deuteronomy 7:9 says, "Know therefore that the Lord your God is God. He is a faithful God, keeping his covenant of love to 1,000 generations of those who love him and keep his commandments." And then in 2 Timothy 2:13 it says, "If we are faithless, he remains faithful, for he cannot disown himself." Because God is unchanging, therefore he has to remain faithful. Now our circumstances change and we change, but God always remains true to who he is. There's a passage in Lamentations which is written by the prophet Jeremiah. And Jeremiah was bemoaning the dreadful things that had happened to him, and he writes things like this: "He pierced my heart with arrows from his quiver. I became the laughingstock of all my people. They mock me in song all day long." And a bit further on, "I remember my affliction and my wandering, the bitterness and the gall. I well remember them, and my soul is downcast within me." So Jeremiah is obviously in the pits. And yet he says this, "Yet this I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. So great is your faithfulness." So Jeremiah knows that even though his circumstances are terrible, God is faithful to who he is, and that gives Jeremiah hope. God is faithful in his love. He's faithful in his promises, and he's faithful in his word. Numbers 23:19, "God is not a human that he should lie, not a human being that he should change his mind. Does he speak and then not act? Does he promise and not fulfill?" Obviously the answer is no. His love never fails, even when ours does. He remains faithful. Jesus expressed this in his lament over Jerusalem. "Jerusalem, Jerusalem, you who kill the prophets and stone those sent to you, how often I've longed to gather your children together, as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings, and you were not willing." That's such a tender picture of God, wanting to love and protect his people, and yet they remain stubborn. The promises of God are always to be trusted. Now God promised Abraham that his descendants would be a mighty nation, but Abraham and Sarah had no children, and they were already past childbearing age. When Sarah heard that promise, she decided she needed to take things into her own hand, and she suggested that Abraham sleep with her slave girl Hagar. He did, and Hagar bore a son, Ishmael. But that was not God's promise. Sometime later, 3 men visited Abraham, and they said to him, "By this time next year, Sarah will have a son." Now Sarah laughed at the idea, but God fulfilled his promise, and Isaac was born. One of the great promises to us is at the end of Matthew's Gospel. "I am with you always, even to the end of the age." And he said much the same thing to his disciples when he was teaching them about the Holy Spirit. "I will not leave you as orphans. I will come to you." God's promise is that he is with us. Another vital promise is in 1 Corinthians 10:13. "And God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, he will also provide a way out so that you can endure it." God has called us to himself. He will never depart from us, and he's always there to sustain us.
Faithful God, you are good to all, steadfast and true.